First, put the agenda and then the minutes, please. So lots to talk about. Gus, I figured you would just kind of jump in with us too about some of the things we'll talk about today. And
That's fine. Yeah.
Will, I didn't know, do we have some high school students coming on today? Is he here?
No, that's Evelyn Penino.
Bill,
Yes,
they come.
yeah, I'm here. So I was expecting that a few of our high school students would show up at around 10:30 because that's generally when we do the high school report.
Okay. Just let me know because I don't want to take away from their school time. So if they come in,
Got it.
yeah,
All right,
wherever we
and
are,
I'm
you'll
not
let me
sure. I
know.
think Dr. Iannelli wants to be here with them as well
Okay.
to talk about the trip that they attended.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, and I'll be checking my email just to make sure that they have the Zoom link and everything.
Perfect. Okay. All right. And if you could put the minutes up. Okay. Are there any objections to the minutes? And if not, do we have consensus to approve them? Okay,
my
Shirley
thumbs
says
up.
yes. Bill, yes. Okay, good, good, good. All right, thanks. So I have a few things that I want to discuss before we get into Dr. Mike's presentation. Hold on, I just for some reason lost my notes. Okay. So as many of you know, or if you did not know, the state released its new school accountability status. So congratulations to all of us in District 25. Our schools and building leaders, teachers, staff have worked so hard. We are identified as a local support and improvement district for the 2022-23 school year. For those of you who are used to the old terms and lingos, it is the new name for designation of good standing. So districts in good standing have been changed to local support and improvement status to recognize that all schools, even the highest performing schools, we always need to get better and are in continuous improvement mode and can benefit from local supports from us to meet the differentiated needs of students. So we are a local support and improvement district. I want to really take this time to congratulate Flushing High School and Principal Ignazio Accardi. I mean, we've really been working with Flushing since I've been a superintendent 13 years ago. This is no easy task. He promised us when he became principal that we were going to be here, and today, through his efforts and the efforts of his staff and students, we are now listed as a local support and improvement district. And we are really proud of the work that we do across the district, but especially of Flushing High School. So I do want to congratulate them. And I would like to send Ignazio an email on behalf of DLT. And if there's no objections, I wanted to do that following the meeting, but I wanted to ask you guys first, but we're super proud. The other designations, just so you do know, we have TSI, which is the same, Gus, correct? The only
Correct.
designation,
Yes.
I think, and
Right.
then, so TSI is based on low performance of one or more school student subgroups of the assessment of 2021-22. I don't know if additional targeted supported improvement is new. The ATSI, is that new?
That's new.
Okay. And that is based on continuous low performance of one or more school student subgroups on New York State assessments. And then CSI is the same,
Right.
right? So,
That is not true.
so there's two new designations. LSI, which is the local support and improvement, which is the old good standing, and then ATSI. TSI and CSI remain the same. So I did not know, Gus, if you wanted to add anything to that.
Yes. I want to add that District 25, which I'm very proud of, joins District 26 and District 24, which are all in that new good standing status. So Queens North leads the city. There are only, I believe, 5 districts citywide. I may be wrong, but I think it's about 5. And we have 3 out of the 5 in the entire city of New York that are in that status. So I'm very proud of Queens North and my districts. And the high schools, Superintendent Two's high schools are all in good standing as well, that LSI category, and that helps Queens North in general. So kudos all around.
Yep, great work. Now, I will say we do have under my superintendencies 2 schools that we have to watch very carefully that we will be working on and talking about as a DLT. Gus, do you want to explain?
Well, what it is that status is only for this year. It's a 1 year status and a 1 year system because of the pandemic. Remains to be seen whether the current situation will remain. The two schools that you're talking about, and I don't remember them off the top of my head, are schools that have some subgroups that need to be watched. And
Yes.
there's potential for identification in the future if they do not improve. But I'm confident with all of your fantastic efforts that we will prevail in the future next year and maintain our status.
Yep. So we do have two schools. One of them is 250, and that is for their Black learners, and PS 21 for their English language learners. So currently we are working with them, and we'll continue to put plans of support at the district level and plans of assistance in place to make sure that these schools are increasing their supports for these students. And if there's anything that we can do to give them additional supports, we're ready to continue that work together. Does anybody have any questions or statements?
For for my sake, what is the A for the ATSI? What's the A? I'm assuming it's the same
Additional,
as TSI.
it's additional
Thank you.
targeted support and improvement.
It's kind of an in-between status, if I understand it correctly. And I'm attending a New York State session on accountability in Brooklyn on Tuesday morning. So they're going to give us details and briefings about all of this.
Yeah, so we're just really excited to be in the space that we are, and it really is communities coming together to make sure that our students receive the best education they can. And we're really proud of Flushing High School. It's been a long time, Gus, right?
Yes.
Like it's come up. So
I have to also mention Bryant High School also improved and is off of improvement status.
yep. Bryant is where? District?
District 30.
Nice. Congratulations to District 30 and Bryant High School as well. We're really happy. Okay, the next thing is, I know we've been going over the DCEP for months. It is finalized. I did not click yet, Gus.
That's
I am.
yeah. Oh,
I'm going to
that's
do it
okay.
today. I promise. As soon as we get off of this meeting, I just wanted to make sure that everyone has checked, rechecked, unchecked, because after today, it will be posted centrally. So if you just want to give it one more quick look over before we do that, let me know. Otherwise, we are ready to go. We've made all the corrections and processed the feedback and kind of added a few things to it, but it was not changing any of the essence of what we were doing. So if there's any last questions or comments on the DCEP, if not, we're ready to approve.
Yep. Let me explain a little bit about the system because it might be new to a lot of DLT members. We're going back to the system that existed about 5 years ago, where the DCEP gets posted publicly on iPlan, the way school CEPs are posted. And all DLT members should have access to the iPlan always has two parts to it. I call it the draft section, where DLT members and SLT members can work on the draft sections and update their documents. And then there's the public side. You need a code to get into the draft section of the CEPs and the DCEPs. All of your emails have been given to Central, and you should all be given access, and you should all have access. With that access, you can look at whatever the new template is and tinker with the present DCEP. Once the superintendent, and this includes the high school superintendent as well, because for the first time they have their own separate DCEP. is satisfied with the document, they submit. It's a two-step process. They have to submit it, and then they have to post it. So like approve it. So it's a submit and then approve. Don't ask me why. That's the way the system works. And as Mr. Doyle may know, I've had some going back and forth with the high school folks to make sure that they are all, credentialed as the superintendent wishes in iPlan. So this is a new transition, folks. So if any of you have any trouble with iPlan, just let the superintendent's office know and let me know, and I'll run after the iPlan folks and get it straightened out. With everything that's new, there are always some bugs and there are always some issues to deal with. But as the superintendent just said, once you're satisfied with it, you'll push the buttons, it'll get posted, and it'll be accessible on the public side and of course on the other side. They also have a feature where you can print it out, just like the CEPs. You can print out a PDF of the posted version. So if you want to have your own copy in paper at home, you could do that, as anybody in the world can do. So that's, and then I did ask the question when we're going to get the new template, and the person that I asked at Central laughed at me and said, first we have to get the CEP template out, and then we'll worry about the DCP. That's next. So ladies and gentlemen, look for the new CP. That's what's currently they're working on being released, and it'll be released in iPlan, and then we'll see hopefully before the end of the school year the new DCP template. Thank you.
So as Gus said, for those of you who have not done so yet, if you choose, you should log into iPlan to see if they have given you the access. If you've been a DLT member prior, you already have access, but somebody like Teresa, or I'm trying to say, well, anybody else, well, maybe Lamar, just double check to make sure that you have the district access, and Teresa, not just your individual school. And if not, just let us know and we can reach out and get those changes done. Okay. Gus, did you have anything else? I'm going to do the parent involvement plan after Mike does his update.
Right. All the CP should be posted and available on the public side. Just if anybody finds that a CEP from any of our schools is not posted, please let me know and I'll look into it and find out why.
Okay. All righty. So at this time, I'm going to turn the meeting over to Dr. Mike. He's going to give us an update first on 21st Century Education. That was the company that came to speak to us about the online courses. And then based on our previous state of the district, which we first addressed with you guys during our last meeting, we've gotten more of our testing data in. So Dr. Mike wanted to just do an update. We also made this presentation at our last CEC meeting, so it is public and online on our District 25 website. So Dr. Mike, I'm turning it over to you.
Okay, thanks so much. Hi, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. I'm going to give you a, oh, you know what? I think, hey, Lewis, I think the way that I entered into this system is not allowing me to share.
Hold on, I'm going to make you a host.
Perfect. Thanks, Lewis. So I do want to just quickly talk a little bit about 21st Century Ed, as Superintendent Domingo mentioned. We have been in contact with Donovan, the sales rep from 21st Century Ed, and have purchased courses for District 25. The specific focus of this purchase was to really connect with our children that are currently falling in that space of at risk of being chronically absent. So right now, 21st Century Ed is in the space of curating a list of courses that'll be specific for District 25. And every school will have an opportunity to participate, particularly for children in grades 3 through 8 that are in that space of being at risk for being chronically out for the year. The goal of this is that children, at least 15 children from each school, will be invited to attend. We will need to make sure that obviously we get a teacher that's willing to engage in this work with us. But these are the courses that that 21st Century Ed actually currently offers. Some of them will be a little bit more difficult than others to engage in, as they require additional materials, but they have plenty of them that are not necessarily material. We won't necessarily need materials in order to make sure that kids have access to something that's really cool and exciting. One of which that they have mentioned to me, this whole Minecraft space. Apparently this is something that our kids have been really excited about. And I know, for those of you who have children, that Minecraft is always one that they tend to engage in, especially at the earlier grades. But apparently, according to them, this is something that's been really kicking off with the children in the middle schools as well. So it'll be an opportunity and almost of an incentive to incentivize the space of getting kids excited about being in school. It is an 8-week program, and we're looking to get this started, in the very near future, hopefully in an April kickoff. So it'll bring us from April through June, with the goal of serving as a pilot to see if this is something that will help build our students' attendance between now and that time. So they're in the process of curating that list for us. As soon as that list comes out, it will be shared with all of our schools. They will have an opportunity to make a selection, and then we will go from there. But I'm excited about this pilot, and I think it will help serve us well for our kids that are currently in that space of being at risk. Does anyone have any questions about that, or any wonderings as to this space and why we're doing it?
Yeah, this is Rachel. I'm on behalf of President's Council.
Hi, Rachel.
How are you, Dr. Mike?
Good.
Good. I'm just wondering, when you say at risk, does that mean somebody that's already considered chronically absent, or somebody that's close to becoming chronically absent?
So at risk right now are children that, if the year were to end today, would technically be chronically absent, but they haven't met the full threshold for the year. So for a child to be fully chronically absent, deemed chronically absent at this point, they would be out 18 or more days already. But we have a lot of children that are falling into that 12 days of being absent at this point, and for lots of different reasons, for whether it's the illness or something other than that. Then, those are the children that we're trying to target.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions or comments, thoughts? I'm echoing for some reason.
No,
No?
you want me to?
Yeah. Okay, so that's kind of the space that we are in for 21st Century Ed. Looking forward to hopefully hearing from them today. I actually sent an email first thing this morning because they were supposed to share on Friday, the curated list. So I'm hoping that I hear from them today so that we can get this work rolling. In terms of just an update, there's just a couple of quick ones in regards to our priority data on our priorities. So, we did share this during our last DLT meeting. I'm not going to go through that whole list of data again. I'm just going to give you kind of a couple of things that I said that I would bring back to you, including the current state of MTSS, children that were receiving services or supports, and kind of giving you a little fall to winter comparison, so you have a little bit of context as to how these children are performing now. Still lots of work to do for the children that fall into this space of intervention needs, but we have seen some progress and looking to continue to build on that progress as the year goes on. As a district, I shared this during our last session, but I'll review it really quickly. Overall, we saw a 4% change in children for our early childhood students. And remember, our priority 1 was around all students learn to read well. This is particularly connected to our children in K-2. So overall, we had a 4% change. We did see a positive change across each of our subgroups by close to or just below 4%. Our Hispanic learners at 3.4, our Black learners at 4%. And overall, children that were receiving MTSS services we did see an 11% change from where they were in the fall to where they are based on the winter Acadience assessment. And in grade 2, just a celebration space that I did share during the CEC meeting, we had nearly 78% of our children that are non-Ls in grade 2 that were currently performing at or above grade level. And I say non-Ls because it's important to note that that our Ls are something that we do need to attend to. In our district, as you guys all know, we have a very, very large L population. So I did wanted to give you that little snapshot for children that are not new to the English language. We are at around 78% of our children performing on or above grade level.
And Dr. Mike, this is something to be very proud of. And one of the things that we identify to our communities is, remember, the learning needs of struggling learners is not the same as the learning needs and the linguistic language needs of our English language learners. So as part of the DLT, and you know that we've been working across the years based on my belief and the vision of, if you are an educator in District 25, you are a teacher and educator of Ls. So we are on a continuous pathway to make sure that our teachers and our students have access to the learning and the materials and the resources that they need to support the linguistic needs of our new language learners. But we're really happy to see the increase in proficiency and progress of our non-Ls in how they've closed those gaps to be closer to meeting benchmarks and above benchmarks on grade level.
Yeah, so based on what it is that we've seen there, we do want to continue our work with Hegarty and Foundations. Those are two of our core instructional programs for children in grades K through 2. We're going to continue coaching supports that we've been supporting our schools with from our district instructional team. Learning walks focused on reading instruction, and continuing to build capacity through letters, which is language essentials for teachers of reading and spelling. We do have a significant number of our teachers engaging in that work. And we're hearing quite a good deal of positive feedback from from the training in and of itself, and we'll be looking to work with our teachers and administrators to build in that area moving forward. This is just a quick little table for you guys to see. Left-hand side is fall, right-hand side is winter. We saw about a 13% difference for children that were in that well below benchmark space. And those children wound up performing upwards, moving into that at or above benchmark. So 12% of those children were already at benchmark after receiving services. We're at nearly 23%, just about 23% for those that are attaining that now. So 11% change from fall to winter. We want to continue to see this well below benchmark level continue to decrease over time as the year progresses and we close out 2022-23. Chronic absenteeism data. The last DLT meeting, we were at around 24%, which you see here. This is what I presented to you last time, which at 24.21%. At the close of February, we did see a decrease by around 2% from end of January to end of February. The goal is that we wind up seeing an even greater reduction from February to March with the work that our schools are continuing to do to push improved attendance rates across the school year. One of those things that we're doing, part of that is the work with 21st Century Ed. But our district team has also been engaging in school visits, and our schools have been really focused in terms of really connecting with our attendance data on a routine basis through their case teams. We also have an attendance coordinator who's been engaging in school visits, connecting with kids around yoga, mindfulness, to really build around chronic absenteeism. So we're looking to build in this area, no doubt, as 22% overall is something that we want to reduce. It's aligned to our DCEP goal, so we do need to make sure that we're attending to that. And certainly around these percentages, albeit that they have reduced, as you see here on the right-hand column, we still have a lot more room to grow in this space as a district. Okay, priority 3. This again, we've already kind of gone through with already. Overall, there was a 9% change for our all student subgroup, 9% change for our Hispanic learners, and a 5% change for our Black learners. Children that are receiving MTSS saw a similar type of pattern as we saw with our early childhood. We did see a reduction in the number of children that were multiple grade levels below, and an increase of children that are currently on or above grade level by around 10% was a similar type of pattern that we saw for our children from fall to winter of those that are receiving MTSS in District 25. So we have seen a similar pattern for them as we saw with our other students in the district. So more work is necessary here. We're going to continue to build on that as a district. We are in the process of unpacking the implementation of CLAVIS. That's the program specifically for our English language learners. This just began in January, so many of our schools that are doing this are just now through Unit 1 and getting into Unit 2. We're going to be working with the developers from NYU and Boston University to get a handle on the pre and post assessment data. As soon as we get that, I'll be happy to share that during the April meeting to give you guys a little bit of feedback on how this is impacting our English language learners. We are engaging in walks for our MTSS work as a district to really cue in on those practices that have been really successful in our schools, and surfacing some of them that we might need to adjust. So our district team is engaging in those walks right now across our schools. We have a tool that we've kind of modified and adjusted from the Center of Multi-Tiered Systems of Support. They have a tool that kind of indicates all of the things that our schools should have in place in order to support productive MTSS. So we're in the process of organizing that right now. Our L Services administrator is currently working with our schools to target training and supports for both our bilingual classrooms and our English language learner classrooms. So more work that still needs to be done here, but we are making progress. For our math performance, just a space that I want to linger here because I didn't get a chance to talk to you guys about this in the last DLT meeting. I did talk about it during the CEC though. However, in 21-22, 53, almost 54, just under 54% of our children in 21-22 achieved an 80 or above on the Algebra 1 regents, which for us, our goal was to be much more significantly higher than that as a district this year. Based on the current MAP data, we have our children that are currently performing at the high achievement or high average range on that particular assessment was around 67% of our students were already in that range of high achievement, high average. These typically, our students in these ranges typically perform at those levels 3 or 4. So the goal is to continue to build this across the remainder of the year in order to make sure that our kids are ready and prepared for success on that Regents assessment. Last year, we had 21% of our Hispanic population, just under 22% for our Black population in terms of performance at 80 or above on the Regents assessment. Right now, our performance currently is showing elevated numbers in that respect, but still gaps when we compare that those particular subgroups to the remainder of the other subgroups in District 25. So we're going to continue to work on this as a district. Part of the ways that we're doing that, we just recently added a math specialist to our team. She's been working with our district since January and has been with our district for prior to that in her role at the central level. But she now joins us as part of our team, so she'll be working more intimately with our schools moving forward. But has been working particularly with our Algebra 1 teachers over the past few months, providing professional learning, specifically looking at how do we support our kids that are currently falling outside that sphere of success to give them access to our Algebra 1 coursework. So we're going to continue to build on that, particularly number sense, algebra, measurement, and so on in general. But for our kids in the Algebra 1 courses is really certainly obviously focused on building those algebra skills so they're prepared for that Regents moving forward. And that concludes my my update just in terms of where we left off from DLT last meeting to where we are now. So I turn it back over to you, Danielle.
Thank you, Dr. Mike. Does
Sure.
anybody have any questions for
Yes,
Dr.
please. I
Mike?
didn't open that. Questions. Yes.
None? Okay. So yeah, I think one of the things that it's important for DLT to know is how strategically we're looking at data at this point in the year, how we are reconnecting with our leaders. We are engaging in data chats where we're breaking down with them to make sure that they are looking at their data in a way that can help them to finish strong. Remember, we talked about that at the last meeting, but also to really build sustainable practices into across their school community to address the specific needs of their learners. I think it's important to mention to our DLT that I am in a space right now with engaging our building leaders. And so this is going to happen this Thursday at Linden Place. I know Lamar will be joining us, but I will offer it up to any DLT member who is interested as well. But we are speaking as a district around going to one standardized curriculum in elementary school across the district. Currently, right now, we have many different schools that are using different types of curricula. It's becoming very difficult to, one, see where the gaps truly are, because our team in every school that they're going through is working with different curricula. And to two, really see how we can target building instructional practice. So there are 3 different curricula options that we are looking at, and that is expeditionary learning, HMH, and into reading, and wit and wisdom. So our conversation is going to begin at the leadership level, where we're going to break apart and unpack the different elements of the curriculum, come up with questions for the book companies, and then principals will be bringing this information to their schools to meet with staff, SLT, and families. But I wanted the DLT to know that this is part of conversations that we're having. And it is time that we as a district start looking at our curriculum. And it would just be, we have such strong collaboration. And when we talk about living our vision of strong roots, strong schools, and we want to be able to fully support that. But when we're talking about different units of study, different texts, it's becoming very difficult for us to put in place the generalized supports that we would need in order to build capacity. So I wanted to open that up with the DLT. As you know, I am very transparent when it comes to change. It's not going to be easy for a lot of schools. We've had some schools who have been doing similar curriculum for a very long time. And they've been doing the good work of really unpacking their units of study to target the needs of their learners. But there are still many gaps that are existing that we believe we can close even further if we're all speaking from the same place. That does not mean that every school will be doing the same thing, because every school has different needs of their learners, but we will be speaking common standards, common units. And I think we are in a space, just from myself in doing quality reviews across the district many years ago, and Dr. D'Antona and I doing PPOs and just really looking very closely at the curricular needs of the school. We are seeing a need for standardization of documents and of curriculum options and of units, so we can really start looking and supporting and unpacking that together. Are there any questions about that?
I may have missed it from the beginning of what you're saying. What class are you referring to? Is it curriculum in general, or
No, it's elementary school.
for ELA?
Oh, for ELA. Yes. No, you didn't miss it, Rachel. I didn't say it. Thank you. It's for the ELA curriculum.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, so I just want the DLT to know that this is going to be a heavy lift. It's not going to be an easy transition, but what I am planning is I'm working very closely with Central and ELA. In our district, we have a very strong, very competent ELA team, and there will be supports in place for all of our schools should they need in any capacity that they need it. So I just think it's important for you guys to know that. All right, if there's no other questions, I want to go to our last space. And Louis, if you can just put up the questions to consider as we revisit D25's parent engagement policy.
Sure.
Now, I know that we've visited and discussed our parent engagement policy over the course of the past 2 years, but the actual formalized updating of the policy expired in January of 2023. So as a DLT, we really need to kind of reconnect and revisit our district parent and family engagement policy. And one of the ways that I approached this document was really looking at, we seem to have a very strong vision around our strong roots and strong schools, foundations of learning, how we build that in, how we grow together in both our academic, our social emotional, as well as our cultural community. But one of the things that I really don't think we have discussed enough, even though we are doing a tremendous amount of work across the district and within each of our schools around parent engagement and parent empowerment, how we've trained all of our PCs around engaging in parent chats, how I myself are consistently modeling for all of our schools and communities around how we are listening and hearing parents' needs or parents' concerns or parents' questions or things that parents would like to see through this parent chat outlet. And really having sometimes uncomfortable conversations about things such as chronic absenteeism or certain subgroups that we need to pay attention to and to support. I find these parent chats to be very engaging for myself, very successful. When I was just at the central level at Hot Seat, I did make a recommendation to one of my colleagues who was faced with some of the same challenges that I'm faced with. And I told him the power of parent chats and how I learned so much hearing from parents, and it helped guide the decisions that I made to further support our schools. But the one thing that I do not think that we have that we should start discussing as a DLT is a vision for family engagement and what parent engagement means. So Shirley, oh no, I had my hand on your thing. I thought you had your hand up. So there's two things that I wanted to do today. What I am going to ask all of you as a DLT is to really read through our parent engagement policy over the next month. And if there are things that you think that we are currently doing that are not part of this policy, have that ready for our next meeting so we can really unpack and change this policy to make it truly reflect what our district is doing and should be doing in order to support our parents' engagement work. I've included an article that I am going to be sharing with principals and parent coordinators around what family engagement and how schools should consider approaching family engagement and relationship building. I like the fact that it highlights 4 key pieces of the relationships, which it's an ongoing relationship. It's a mutual relationship. One of the things that we've been trying to break, because even myself as a superintendent and my knowledge of the system, sometimes when I go to my children's school, it's not necessarily a mutual relationship. It's the teacher telling me or the assistant principal, the principal telling me what they think that they should tell me, and I have no say. So we want to make sure that we're continuing to model for our schools that parent engagement is built on trust and respect, and that goes both ways. And how can we establish those situations where we feel those we feel trust and respect for one another across our schools. And that means that we're not always going to agree. That also means that if your child breaks the discipline code, we're going to be addressing that with you. We may not leave every meeting in full agreement, but there should be that understanding that we are going to respect each other and we're going to respect the school in general and the culture and the community that we work in. And then the last part is focused on student learning. And I think that's really important, something that I'm going to hit home with many of my principals, assistant principals, teachers, and parent coordinators, is that sometimes we establish really strong relationships with certain parents. And the conversations are not necessarily focused where they should be all the time or where they should start. So we want to make sure that we're channeling that back. So this article that I gave, it really does have and discusses those 4 different elements and gives some suggestions. So as you're reading through this, I'm also going to ask that you read through this to make sure that, once again, our parent engagement policy does say what we truly want it to say. The questions that I pulled from a lot of different spaces, I thought they were really good questions for us to talk about as a DLT, and then for us to give to our SLTs. And like I said, I will be giving these to our schools, our parent coordinators, our principals, to really ask our SLTs to do something very similar to what we're going to do right now. So the one activity that I do want to take us through has to do with the first 3 questions, right? So if I asked us as a DLT from our discussions, what's our district vision for family engagement? What would we say about that? Because if we don't have one, I think we need to build one. Anyone? Okay, so I think that signals that we need to build one, right? So one of the things that I'm going to ask us to do right now, if you don't want to speak out loud, we can add it in the chat. So the question is, what would be some of the words, terms that you would want to see in a district vision that focused on family engagement? And now I'm going to make sure that my team starts putting some words in there.
Since it's so quiet.
Thank you, Shirley.
We want to make sure that our parents, the families, and student voices are empowered, that their voice matters, and they are listened to, and they're involved and engaged.
Okay. Anything else?
So, I mean, one of the core values too that we actually have, Superintendent Domingo, in our values as a district, talks about collaborate with families and foster meaningful partnerships from early childhood years that support student achievement and build successful pathways towards college and careers. But just as I'm listening to you and thinking about the vision and what that means in terms of our values, how do we even unpack that idea of what collaboration with families and fostering these meaningful partnerships? Because I think it's very heavy in what it can mean. It's just a matter of us maybe digging in and pulling that language apart a little bit more in terms of building it out for for our schools to think about more in a little bit of a different way, perhaps.
Thank you, Dr. D'Antona.
Sure.
One of the aspects that relates to an agenda item that I'm going to deal with is inclusiveness and diversity. It's extremely important in a district like District 25 with so many languages and cultures that the policy be inclusive in a multilingual, multicultural kind of way, and that there be structures in the policy and in your vision to make sure that everybody is included and is able to participate no matter what their language is and their culture.
So inclusiveness, diversity, I think you're talking about access too, right?
Right.
Yep.
And you have a wonderful website, by the way, which helps in terms of access, but not everybody is always tech savvy, as I
Mhm.
well know.
Yep. Rachel, I see you turned your camera on. Did you want to add to this?
Yes, I was thinking about, in line with the question number 6 about social emotional learning at home, and more elaborating to families as to what social emotional learning means. Because some of them may not, I mean, we're obviously familiar with the term and know exactly what it means, but if you talk to a family that, you know, is new to a school or new to the district, you know, they may not have a grasp on what social emotional learning actually is. So
Mhm.
more defining that a little bit more.
Agreed. And actually, in a minute, I want to let you know why that's there. But I think also, you know, and I say this to parents, but also to all members of our DLT, you know, I think it's really important when we ask parents what community and family engagement means, I think they struggle with what that means also. So for Rachel and Shirley, I didn't know if you wanted to weigh in on that. I think it's important for us to hear from families about how they define what engagement should mean. I think we sometimes as schools, and some of the things that I'm trying to correct, and as I model for principals and doing parent chats, sometimes parent engagement is seen as, so I go to school and I get information that I need, but not necessarily work in tandem with the school. So I'm wondering, as a district, and you know, just in the larger sense too, but I'm going to hone into it in our work as a DLT as a district, but not only do how we define family engagement, because I think we have to create a definition of that as well, but do parents really have a definition of what family engagement is?
Okay, I was going to piggyback on Rachel in the sense that before answering your question,
Mhm.
it was that parents and families need to know what they can do at home to support that social and emotional piece of aspect of their child for as part of family engagement. What is their what they can do to contribute? What is their part in that as well, to support their children and other children in the school or district?
Mhm.
Um,
We have been
social,
hearing that a lot. And you know what else we've been hearing? Some parents have also been saying, like, they want consideration that their needs are being heard and met, right? So there's a lot coming from families to me about expectations across our community for after school programs. Like, you know, parents are saying, what are you doing to ensure this happens, because it is a need in our community? And I think engagement, family engagement, is like that too. It's about, here's the things that we can do at home, but it's also about, but here's what we need. And I've been engaging in a lot of conversations with parents about that as well. So go ahead, Shirley.
yeah. So most of the time, when what the needs are is resources or where they can turn to address their children's need, to have the resources, to have like a workshop, clear signs on different emotional triggers or signs of behavior that might lead to you need additional social emotional support. I think even to have a support among families, the adults, to have that support as well, um, dealing with social emotional, because that affects the child, and also, you know, it makes us better adults self-care, as I say. You can't take care of the children if you don't take care of yourself. So that is additional resources for not only for the for our scholars, but for ourselves as well.
Yeah. So, Louis, can you put that back up or no? Rachel, did you want to add?
I thought we were just talking about the
Yeah, back to what you were talking about defining for families what parent engagement means. Along with that, I think we need to be cognizant of the families that work full time and may not necessarily be able to engage in person. So how we can enhance virtual parent engagement. Because we had a Saturday event this weekend for the book fair, and I was speaking with the parent, and she was saying, how hard it is. It's the first time she's been in the school because she can't come to anything. Now that the vaccination requirement has been lifted, there's been some during the day events, but she can't come because she works full time and she feels like she doesn't know what's going on. And so I think we need to, when we build the policy, focus on not just what they can do in the school, but what they can do from, I know we talked about social emotional learning at home, but also parent engagement from home.
Yeah, I think I like what does virtual parent engagement look like, feel like, sound like across schools? And I definitely know, even from my own research, that when I did my listening and learning tour, the most attendance, the highest rates of attendance were my virtual meetings, and even during the school day, at 11 o'clock. So I think that's an important piece too, to be inclusive of virtual engagement. So is there anyone else that wants to add anything? So here's what, go ahead.
I'm sorry, one more. So, and when parents give suggestions, or they need to know that they've been heard, even if the suggestion or idea is not implemented, but recognize that they are being heard and they are part of the partnership, equal partnership.
Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Acknowledgement, I
So
guess is the word.
Shirley, I think that is a super, super important point, and something that we do talk about with our building leaders often. And for anyone here in conversations at the SLT, it's about the things that even you as an SLT, certainly they go into minutes, but how do we make sure that they're fully transparent, to the community, in terms of what it is that is happening next. So that next steps, even if it's in a slide presentation, here's what I heard you say, here's what it is that I want that we're going to do because of it. I 100% agree with you. Otherwise, why give the feedback, right? Why share your thoughts if all they are is things that get out there in the atmosphere but not realized? So I really appreciate that comment. That's really important.
Yep, me too. So a few things. What I think is really interesting, Rachel and Shirley, that you brought up social emotional learning. I know at our last meeting, Dr. D'Antona showed a slide where our parent interview questions, our parent survey that we did, that was just district level, the highest rate of need that came out of that in terms of data was that parents were asking for supports in supporting social emotional learning at home. So for me, sometimes it's not necessarily just about hearing, but it's about, like you said, Shirley, also doing something about it, right? So if we're asking the questions in a survey, then we should be able to address the answers that we receive. So we've heard that just around what social emotional learning supports we can give to families, and there's a need for a lot of them. I think virtual engagement is very important, but we have to spend a lot of time talking about the impact of the virtual world on our children in terms of the needs for social emotional learning. That's coming up over and over and over again across our schools, especially since now we've reconnected, right? We're in each other's spaces. We are seeing one another, and yet there is this pull to technology, and how do we balance that in terms of social emotional learning? So there's a lot of work that we are starting to do that we will need to continue to do, because social emotional learning has so many spaces that can be addressed, right? It's about students' individual work in terms of mindfulness and emotion regulation and how to deal with things such as stress and anxiety. But then it's also the parts of our world that cause those feelings and how we can minimize them. So what I would like to have all of us do for our next meeting, if everyone is in agreement. So I've given you the article, I've given you these questions to consider, as well as the parent engagement, the district parent engagement plan. If you could take these 3 documents and unpack them, go into the policy and see if there's things that you would really want to add. Because remember, these are things that we believe in, that we're talking about in terms of parent engagement to make sure that we're capturing them. But Dr. D'Antona and I are also going to take some of the feedback that you gave to us today, and we're going to write a sample district vision for family engagement, right? How we define it, what it looks like to us. So we can put that out there, because question 3 was very meaningful to me, which says, does our staff understand the importance of community engagement? Yeah, of course they do. But my question is, does our staff and do our schools understand how we define family engagement? The answer to that might be no, because I don't know if we've ever clearly said, here's what we think about family engagement, right? Here's how we as a DLT are saying we want to model and live every day in terms of connecting with families. So what I really would like, and I know that we never have assignments, but this is a real one, because this is a space over the next few months that I would want to expand upon, because I feel like we've had so many different things that we were unpacking just in terms of coming back from the pandemic and making sure we were closing learning gaps and addressing social emotional learning. But as I was really reading through the parent engagement policy, I myself found gaps, but I did not want to present those gaps to you without giving you documents. And my documents and my questions are not the only things that should be out there. Please feel free to send other things that you may be using. But I really do want to create a vision for family engagement that we can use across all of our schools as a community, the same way we worked with a team of students, parents, teachers, administrators to create our Strong Roots, Strong Schools vision as well. So is there anyone with any objections to that? Okay, please feel free to draft your own vision if you choose. But really important is that you unpack our parent engagement policy and make sure that if there are any things missing, that you will let us know at our next meeting so we can make those changes. And it may take a month or 2 to get that final approval in place, but this to me is really important, because I model my vision for parent engagement, but I don't know if it's out there in writing, and it's something that I would want to make sure that we have in place. So there's no other questions about that. Gus, did you have anything else that you wanted to add? Because I saw that you said, okay.
Yeah, 2 things. On the policy, if once you formally adopt it, either for the April meeting or the May meeting, the regulations require that it be disseminated to all of the schools and parents district-wide. That usually means the PACs and the PAs and PTAs. Also, the other requirement is that it be translated, and the central translation unit routinely does that into the dominant languages in the district and disseminated. And you can post it on your website as well, as you already do in different languages. So it's adoption with the new date, and then dissemination. And then it'll become part of the new DCP, and it will be adopted for 2 years. That's the way we've been doing it in the last decade or so, that it gets adopted for 2 years. Doesn't mean you don't look at it or that you may not change it. It's just that you don't have to go through the formal adoption process every year. It's every other year if you choose to do that. If you don't choose to do it, you can adopt it for a year. It's up to the district and the DLT. So that's on the parent policy. Should I just go through my other agenda item?
Yep.
Since I have the floor. The other big development that happened recently, and it relates to the state, as the district knows, what happened was that shortly before the school break, they gave us about 10 working days. After about 8 or 10 years, the state decided that it was going to monitor Title I again. Title I citywide. They, as the superintendent knows, because she and I and maybe some others have gone through this in the past, is that they actually have visited schools and monitored the fiscal aspects and the implementation aspects of Title I programs in the schools. They have not done that for about 8 years or perhaps more. And they decided to begin, because of the federal government interest, in with what they call a paper review. So they chose 70 schools, ladies and gentlemen, citywide, that they wanted to do a paper review. In other words, they wanted documentation for 70 schools citywide about the Title I program. And they have a very detailed list of documents and documentation that they require. They also did a paper review for every one of the 32 school districts in the city as well, including District 25. In District 25, they chose 2 schools, 25Q 379 and 25Q 120. Now, that doesn't mean that they will actually visit those schools. Out of the 70 schools that they asked for a paper monitoring documentation for, they will choose a subset of schools depending on their capacity to go out and actually visit schools. And I have no idea which schools they'll choose citywide to visit. So Principal Klager and Principal Marino did a spectacular job and helped gather a whole lot of documentation. Some of you may know the Billy Joel song, Pressure. That's what I lived through shortly before the break, gathering the information. In Queens North, we had 9 schools that were going through this paper review, and the 4 districts as well. And I was given basically 10 days to get the information together. And I have to call out the administration, and particularly Louis Latito, who was a godsend to me. He used his considerable technology skills to help me create a database and help solve various problems having to do with the gathering of information for Queens North as a whole. So we managed to gather the information both for the district and the 2 schools, and we deposited it in the database for state ed through Central DOE. Now, they will do a review probably in a couple of weeks, and we will hear which schools they will choose citywide to visit and what else they're going to ask for. Now, the superintendent and I and Mike D'Antona have talked about this, and Danielle and I have been through this many times in the past. They will always ask for more information. So I fully expect them to come back and ask for additional district information and perhaps school information. That's what just the routine. That's what they usually do. And so there'll be a follow-up to this. and I will give them information. One of the things that they monitored and asked for, and it relates to our previous discussion about parental engagement and involvement, a large portion of the Title I review has to do with parent engagement, the policies for parent involvement, how the set aside for Title I is used for engaging parents, etc. So there were a lot of documents and information they asked for the parent pieces, and we provided everything that we could at both the school level and the district level. They asked for DPAC information and PAC information, etc., and we gave them all of that. And again, I have to call out the superintendent and Lewis for helping me in a variety of ways in getting all of this done for Queens North. There are no words that can express adequately my appreciation. We got it done. They gave me until the end of the break. So and the schools had to, before they all left, and I'll tell you, the principals and their staffs were spectacular. Not only did they do everything prior to the break, but they even interacted with me during the break and supplied materials as well. So it's all been done. We have deposited everything, and I'm going to wait and see what they come back and ask for in terms of both the district and by the way, it was high schools and elementary and middle schools, and we had, like I said, 9 schools, which included some high schools and elementary and middle schools in Queens North that they asked for information for, and we provided it. So this is to be continued. I expect that they will come back and ask for more information. I don't know whether they will review any schools in Queens North or in District 25. And I'm going to be in touch with the principals of 379 and 120. And if they ask for anything additional, I'm sure they'll provide it. But they did a spectacular job in gathering up numerous pieces of data information that the state asked for. So that's the state ed monitoring. So the two things that have been taking place is they announced the accountability and they also announced this monitoring. So the state has become more active than they have been in the recent past, ladies and gentlemen. And I expect to hear more from them between now and the end of the year. Anything you want to add, Danielle? Thank you again for all your help.
And thank you, Gus. I know you were very stressed. You did a great job. So thank you for our audit. It's putting you over the edge. I get it.
Yeah.
Any questions for Gus? Okay. Bill, are you ready for your high school presentation?
Yeah, I can do the review. Dr. Iannelli told me that she would be here with the students, so I'll go through my slide deck and then I guess we can just continue after that.
Okay.
All right, so let me just pull up my deck. Share. Does everyone see the PowerPoint? Great. All right. So again, I want to thank Gus and really all of our team members because Dr. Carty and all of the wonderful leaders at Flushing are definitely in good standing. So that's really something to celebrate. We're really proud of that. We're also proud of the principal over at W.C. Bryant, because all of our schools in Queens North now are in good standing. And that doesn't come by easily. That was many years of hard effort and labor from the teachers, the parents, and the students. But certainly the school leaders had a big piece to do with that. So teamwork is the dream work, right? Dream work is teamwork. So we're going to move on now. These are our 6 schools for D25. We have John Bound, Flushing High School, Townsend Harris, World Journalism Prep, Veritas, and RFK High School. We're moving on to the superintendent's advisory meetings. So the next advisory is going to be April 20th, and then the last one will be June 15th, and those are in the evening from 4:30 to 6 p.m. And I think what Superintendent Domingo said, we're finding that, something similar, that when you hold these sessions in a Zoom meeting or online, oftentimes we do have more participants. So that's really kind of food for thought as we move forward through these particular pieces, trying to gain more engagement from our parents, from our students and our constituents. For back to school town hall for Queens North High Schools, we had a session on March 2nd, and the next session will be June 1st. And the last slide here is our family forum. As you know, we're always trying to get more parents involved. I think what Superintendent Domingo said about taking another look at our parent engagement policy, trying to tweak it, trying to make it more enthusiastic and necessary for parents to be involved and guardians to be involved. So our next sessions will be March 28th, April 25th, May 30th, and June 27th. So I'm going to move forward with John Bound High School. This is our highlights for John Bound. For their Academy of Creative Arts, students will be taking part in a series of visits to primary stages off-Broadway theater to see Yes, I Can Say That on March 14th and the 29th. It was performed by a comedian and actor, Judy Gold. And it was directed by B.D. Wong from Law and Order. So, these are pretty famous people. They'll also take part in a pre and post-show talkbacks about the production, about cancel culture, acting and directing. With actor Judy and actor-director B.D. Wong. The talk back with Judy Gold and Wong will be facilitated by our very own AP Ramika, who is serving as the moderator for student performances at primary stage and has assisted the creative team of this production on edits and educational resources for student audiences across New York City. The ACA is also a writing majors, will be joining the New York College or York College for a journalism conference. The ACA freshmen formed a partnership with the local public library and all received library cards. The Law Institute's mock trial defense team was successful in winning round 1 of the competition against Martin Van Buren. The Law Institute welcomed ADAs from the Queens District Attorney's Office into law classes to present to students. Students were able to receive firsthand accounts from prosecutors on the topics of prosecution process, hate crimes, acting in concert, and gang violence. Law Institute also hosted numerous events, including Career Day and field trips to Queens Criminal Court and St. John's Law. One of their teachers, Ms. Fuentes, and the FFA, the Future Farmers of America, chapter officers visited the state capitol in Albany for the State Leaders FFA Conference on February 6th and 7th. There they met with local and state assembly people and other leaders to discuss the importance of agricultural education in schools. Some of the leaders they met were New York State Commissioner of Agriculture, Richard Ball, Assemblywoman Nili Rosie, Senator John Liu, Representative Catalina Cruz, and many more. And I attached the pictures at the bottom of the deck. The Institute for Health and Nutrition Science program forged a relationship with the local hospital that will allow students to participate in the hands-on internship experience and begin considering career pathways. The STEM program won $10,000 grant through the Pepsi Foundation to implement a new curriculum and teacher training in applied artificial intelligence and biomedical engineering. 3 STEM students will be working with the team of teachers to choose their specified modules of STEM research classes. The Computer Science Institute welcomed the directors of security engineering and chief information security officer from New York City, Mr. Hirsch and Mr. Nixon. Students in computer science classes were also able to hear firsthand accounts of what it's like to work in cybersecurity and receive resources on internship opportunities. The physical ed teacher took her adaptive PE class bowling as part of their unit on bowling. And over the midwinter break, 4 John Bound students traveled to Spain with 22 John Bound students. They explored the cities of Madrid, Cordoba, Seville, and Toledo. Saw a flamenco show, participated in cooking class, tried amazing foods, and toured ancient places and churches. That sounds wonderful. Officers from the NYPD Information Technology Bureau will be visiting the cybersecurity classes. Students will receive firsthand accounts from what the department does to provide security and safety, and that's an ever-changing process. The Computer Science Institute also forged a relationship with JP Morgan Chase Bank Information Technology Department, and they'll be coming in and presenting career pathways to the students interested in that particular field. And former John Bound High School students in the field of computer science will be coming in to speak with the students. And here's some of the pictures of our students, the representation for the city and the state. And that finalizes the report for the high school.
Okay, so what we can do is kind of go through other constituencies,
Okay,
Bill, and you let me know when they come on.
I will.
Shirley,
Just a comment.
uh-huh.
I just wanted to say that Bill was a key person in the state monitoring at the high school level and gave us
Bill.
information. And this presentation that you just saw, we have it at every meeting. When the state asked for evidence of collaboration at all levels, I gave them these presentations. So these presentations are important not only for our purposes, but also for the wider purpose of proof between collaboration in Queens North at the elementary and community school levels and the high school levels.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Gus. Okay, so Shirley, I know that you submitted your high school subcommittee notes. I didn't know if you wanted to present anything on that.
I'll just highlight. So the the hidden gem was the James Baldwin Expeditionary School. That was the hidden gem in Brooklyn. It's also a transfer school. Then the main presentation was the different transfer programs that go across the 5 boroughs. They have 42 transfer schools servicing 8,500 students in all 5 boroughs. CPAC passed a resolution to restore the high school special education task force. A few years ago, there was a special education task force specifically for high school students, which we know that between early childhood, elementary, middle school, and high schools, they have specific different specific special education needs. So they are imploring that the DOE to restart that task force again, specifically high school. They have a special education task force. They started again with this new administration, but they also are requesting for a high school to target high school needs specifically. There's also District 79. 2 months ago, CPAC had passed a resolution to improve the District 79 website on the school's DOE website part for young adult learners. And they have asked CPAC to members to be part of that improvement and give ideas and stuff. And that is for the citywide high school subcommittee meeting. I don't know if you want me to go into Queens High School, but that's for the citywide.
Yeah, go ahead. Go to Queens High School. Yeah, do both. Yep.
All right. So again, we know it's forum time now because of CEC elections. So Queens will hold the 2 seats for the Citywide Council on High Schools. Again, April 19th. It's a Wednesday at 6:30. All the forums can be seen on the DOE website if you're not able to join the forum. And we're just going to encourage, it's being repeated, we're going to encourage parents and families all education councils, they're eligible to vote and do their due diligence and get to know the candidates. Everything is on the school website. Our meeting is tonight. We're going to have Queensborough Community College to talk about College Now. Last month, we had Doro speak about their youth entrepreneurship and volunteering services. And I think basically that it to summarize what we're doing there. We just had a PD for nominations and elections. We are in nomination mode. Nominating committees are supposed to be formed for the spring elections. And that's all for my report.
Okay, thank you. And Rachel, I didn't know if you had any anything you wanted to present on behalf of Francis.
I was looking right now for my for the minutes from the last meeting. Oh, there they are.
I mean, we can, because I see that the kids are here. We can come back to you. I just wanted to.
Okay, yeah, let kids go.
I just wanted to announce that on the 20th of March, that is when President's Council's forum is for our District 25 CEC at 6 o'clock it starts. So I wanted to make sure that the community knew that.
And
okay.
are you guys still collecting questions for the candidates on the website? Is that still up? Okay.
Well, that's you guys. Yeah, you guys are collecting the questions, not us.
Okay.
And then you and Francis will review them and decide which standard questions you're going to be asking everyone.
Well, just Francis, because I'm a candidate.
Oh, that's right. And that just Francis, because you are. So, okay. So, Bill, I didn't know if you wanted to introduce our guests. Welcome.
That would be great. So we have John Bound High School. We have Dr. Iannelli with us and her two students. Dr. Iannelli, let us know that we can hear you, because I don't hear you right now.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, we hear you great. Just make sure that you're using your teacher voices. All right, and take it away. Thank you so much.
I still see somebody's screen instead of the presenters. I don't know if whoever's sharing can take that down.
Yeah, Bill, you have to stop sharing. Did he hear?
Mr. Doyle has some pictures from the students' trip to Spain. So,
okay.
Mr. Doyle, could you share some of those as they're speaking? I'm joined today with Xavier, Abigail, and Brandon. They're three of our students who went to Spain over February break. They were joined by numerous other students, as well as 4 of our staff members. So I asked them to come to the DLT just to explain and to share some of their best experiences from their international trip. Who'd like to start?
I'll start. Good morning. My name is Xavier. I went to the trip along with these fellow students here. I really enjoyed the trip. I made a lot of friends. I made a lot of experience. Like I have a lot of experience from there now. I came into the trip not knowing anyone, scared or whatever. So it was glad that in the span of we were there for 7 days. So in the span of 7 days, I made a whole group of friends, and memories, memories I won't forget, So I think that's really cool. The tour guide was really nice. We really liked him. The bus driver, he was really nice, So a lot of the I guess staff for the trip was cool, So I really did enjoy that.
Thank you.
Okay. My name is Abigail. My favorite part of the trip was definitely the architecture and learning about the history of Spain, and also learning that the history of Spain is a lot older than the history of America. Also, I really also enjoyed the tour guide and the people that we met, all the different tour guides that we had. What else did I enjoy? I think that's it. Yeah, I made a lot of friends. I enjoyed most of the food. What else? yeah, we also had a movie night. What else? We did a lot of like team building exercises also. We did an exercise, Mr. Henderson, one of our
He doesn't have access, they're not gonna have access, so can I send it?
one of our one of the teachers that came with us on the trip, he made us do an exercise that was called Roses and Thorns, where we, you know, got to collect our thoughts about the trip and really explain to each other and express how much we love the trip and how much, you know, we enjoyed the trip. So I thought that was it.
Hi, my name is Brandon. I didn't really have a favorite part of the trip. I loved everything about it, the culture. I made a bunch of friends. Honestly, I had a lot of fun. I enjoyed every moment, the food, and I really loved everything about Spain, connecting with the culture, seeing all the beautiful architecture, and mostly hanging out with everyone, going to the cooking class. Like I love the old towns and the houses and just the entire vibe of everything. And that was like the first day. I remember me and my friends, we had like a nice breakfast in Spain, and it was really nice.
Thank you, Mr. Doyle, for showing our photos from our trip. Are there any questions?
I have a question. Hi, everyone. That sounds great. I remember doing this when I was your age. I went to Italy with my school. So did you guys have a particular focus when you were there, or was it really just to gain an understanding of the culture? And I mean, was there were you studying something particular about Spain, or was it just the visit?
It was mostly like us learning about the culture and the people and the food and architecture and art.
So my other question then is I know that a lot of colleges do this. They have a lot of different programs where you can study abroad. Did this really help maybe guide you in that direction?
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
You would think about a study abroad program?
Yeah. I'd like to add something. So like one good thing about this that I realized came out of this, besides, just visiting, was the fact that, I never really thought about life outside of America. I've lived here my whole life. I've never traveled out the country before, so I've never really thought about it. But going to Spain and actually being there in person, like, opened my eyes to realize, like, the world is a lot bigger than, just New York.
It certainly is, right? Okay, thank you. Does anybody else have any questions?
No, not really.
Oh, Joe, Mr. Di Benedetto, our CEC president.
So the pictures look great, guys. I'm looking at them now. The question I have for you is, have your language skills improved, or what was the experience like in listening to the language in Spain? I'm not sure if you studied Spanish.
Okay. I speak Spanish, have Spanish culture in me. It was very improved, not really, but I did realize that like there is different ways of speaking it. The Spanish there is very, very different from the Spanish, that I'd speak at home or with, family or friends or whatever. So, it's very, I don't know how to say it, but it's very different. It's very different. Yeah. So
it's an eye opener, right?
Yeah.
Looks like a great experience, though.
Definitely. I think all of our students and chaperones enjoyed their time in Spain. They came back with a wealth of knowledge, and I'm very fortunate that here at John Bowne we can give our students this type of experience.
And thank you. We appreciate that, all the hard work that goes into planning that, because I do know as a superintendent, although I don't we don't do international trips in the K-8 realm. I do know the amount of work that the school has to put into making sure that everything is in order and presented to the superintendent. So thank you for that, because it's not so easy to plan trips like this.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, if there's no other questions, once again, thank you all for presentation like this. I think this should be an expectation for all of our students, whether or not they choose to go, but just to have access to something this wonderful. So thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay. So Bill, thank you for the slides. They're really, really amazing pictures.
Thank you. I'm not sure how to cut it off though. I don't see
You have
that
to
on
stop
my.
unsharing.
Yeah,
see
I
it?
don't see that on my screen here. That somehow went away.
Oh,
Oh, there it goes.
Okay.
There it goes.
Hover,
there
All
you
right.
go.
hover
Is
up
that
top.
Lewis?
Hover up top.
Okay, thanks. All right, so I know Rachel, I didn't know if you wanted to add, we were up to President's Council before the presentation. Did you want to add anything else?
And looking over my notes, it looks like everything else was pretty much covered. You know, you talked about the parent chat, parent survey. So yeah, it looks like everything pretty much from the last President's Council meeting has been covered.
Okay, great. Joe, did you have any announcements? Welcome.
I'm sorry, I came in late. I had a dentist appointment, but only that, you know, CEC elections are coming up, and like you said, meet your candidates on March 20th at President's Council, and you know, really looking to see who's. I think there's a lot of applications that are in, so I think it would be a great night for the community to join in and get an accurate picture of who's applying for the job.
Okay, great. Teresa, did you have any announcements for CSA?
We're good right now. Everything's fine. I just wanted to say we'll probably be looking into the family engagement more deeply now as principals, and I'm sure it's something that we'll be exploring in our district.
Okay, thank you. All right, is there anyone else? All right, hey, we ended 15 minutes early. I can't believe it. So that would give you some time to start your homework, please. And next month, that will be the first topic of our agenda, really going through our parent engagement policy, getting our vision for what parent engagement should look like in District 25. So thank you to all of you. And if there's no objections, I would like to close the meeting. Shirley, what do you think? We closing out?
Definitely. We have
Okay.
consensus. Just
Yep.
hi, Jill.
All right. Okay, everyone, have a wonderful day.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Have a great day, everyone.